Today's hit. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Good evening. You're tuning in to Instinct Radio. This is the Dainhen Butler Show. We are back at it. And we've kidnapped G Knox from 9 to 5 podcast. We got him back in the building. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Man, glad to have you in the building. This is my nephew, man. As you can see, he ain't missing no meals. He don't take no stuff, and he speak his mind. So we're going to continue with, the conversation that we already had going on. We was talking about, some of the stuff we got coming up for the upcoming weeks. And so the second week, what we're discussing is marriage, a realistic expectation with the male to female ratio. And I think that Omar and Aaron had actually took the conversation to a different level to trying to come up with and not an excuse, but a reason as to why there's such a shortage of males, if that makes sense. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, well, I mean, people, you said earlier something about prison.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we do have one of the largest, we do have the number one largest.
Yeah, we do have the largest prison.
And we can talk about how many millions of black men who are locked up. And, of course, we know maybe some of those men shouldn't be locked up. But then, the question I ask is when do we start taking responsibility for what we do? You see what I'm saying? Because if we keep making excuses about the court system and, they're locking up all these black men for this, but, I mean, if we talk about drugs, what do drugs do? Do drugs benefit our community?
Mm-mm.
What does it do?
It destroys our community.
All right, if you rob, what do they do? They benefit our community?
Mm-mm.
If you're breaking their house, does that benefit our community?
Mm-mm.
So what do we do? Slap them on the hand and tell them go about their business?
No, they got to do that. But because you went deep, but sometimes you can go just a tad bit deeper.
So we're still talking about the marriage?
We're talking about the marriage. we just went somewhere else. But we're trying to talk about, we're discussing the reason we have a shortage of black males. See what I'm saying? And so he's talking about drug. You know what? When I was on the Regina Sunshine show that comes on Monday at 12 o'clock, we interviewed the real Rick Ross. And
yeah, I met him before. He's a good guy.
Good conversation. For real. And he just went in depth in reference to how the CIA actually
get the drugs there.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of people don't know that. We don't have resources to go get these drugs. So, I mean, how else they get here?
Exactly. And it's not the first time in history that has taken place.
Choices. Let's go back to choices.
Everything's a choice.
All right.
But it's easier said than done when you at home and you got kids crying and your mom ain't got a job and you got support.
Let's go by choices.
It does go by choice. Sometimes people go for the quick dollar. I'm not saying it's right, but I mean sometimes you don't have any more choices. You don't have time to wait 2 weeks in a hole for that paycheck.
See, when I go back to talking about choices, the problem is here. When we were just talking about men and some of the shortage of men, and we left from talking about the marriage. See, this is where I think our men gonna have to start standing up. Like we can't keep getting out here having all these kids and can't afford it. Mm-hmm. And then we revert back to, well, you know what? I'm gonna sell some drugs. You know what? I ain't had no other choice. I'm going to go break in the house. I ain't had no other choice. I'm going to go steal out the store. Come on, see, the more crazy choices we make, the more crazy stuff we're going to have to keep doing. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because we won't, strap up or not have sex.
That ain't going to happen.
You know what I'm saying? Well, that ain't going to happen. But what I'm saying is,
I agree.
one choice, it's a domino effect. If I knock this down, guess what happened? That's why I'm always saying it's called freedom of choice. Because if we don't start making better choices in our community, man, if we don't start making better choices, our prison system is going to stay filled up. You know why? There's going to be a shortage of black men. Because how many men are going to actually get married? Because we still want to have.
I can go.
You can that story. That thing keep going on and on, man.
I usually don't do this, but I'm actually agreeing with Omar. Oh,
Lord, it's been going on for about 15 years.
It does actually go back to choices, and it goes back to before the prison system, what happens at home? Because you have all these fathers who are not in the home. You have all these supposed father figures who are detrimental to the child. You can have a father in the home who's more detrimental than an absent father would be. You feel what I'm saying? So you have an absence of father figures and absence of males, period, that lead to these kids being out there by themselves, and who are they going to turn to? Their peers. And their peers are just as dumb as they are. So,
Well, I'm going to do something I don't often do, and I'm going to challenge both of y'all thought. And this is how I'm going to do it, because both of you guys are coinciding with the reference of choice. And from my understanding, your ability to choose is based on the information that you're able to collect and effectively make a decision based on, you can make a choice based on the information that you have, correct? Okay, so information is associated with education. Education is associated with school. So right now, what's taking place is that those individuals who have control over our school system, our education, our ability to make effective choices, also have stocks or money derived, not derived, or invested into the prison system. So what I'm saying is, it's not the prison is just doing what it's supposed to do. It's what's taking place is those people who have investments or control over both systems are working together. If you don't educate individuals, what takes place is that and studies show that those individuals who go to college are less likely to go to prison. Georgia has the highest percentage of recidivism. Recidivism is the rate at which people return back to prison. Okay, what takes place is once an individual is educated, he's less likely to return back to prison. However, you can leave prison and not even have your GED. So when you guys say choices, the reason that an individual makes the choices that he has is because his education or the lack of. So in that, and when you say pre-prison, there's no pre-prison because what took place is those individuals, those slave masters, those plantations, those institutions that were set up to house African Americans, those individuals who let the slaves go, these are the individuals. If you had the most slaves, now you have the most prisons, or you have the most participants in this particular prison. I mean, like Angola, which now is a prison in New Orleans. There is, no, is it the Angola prison? It's the Angola prison.
Louisiana, yeah.
Okay, so the plantation that was there before, well, actually it's in the same place. Guess what the name of the plantation was? The Angola plantation. Nothing changed. Those people, a number of those people did not leave. You see what I'm saying? So they found laws for us to break. And so what I'm saying is that if you have a prison and the only way you get your money is to keep people in here, and the easiest way to keep people in here is to affect the education system, which affects their choices, then what you have is a pipeline.
You do have a pipeline, you are right. But the thing is, it still starts at home before you get to the school, before you get to the pipeline, before you get to the prison system. It starts in what you instill in your child. It starts in the values you put in your child. You have to be there to instill those values in your child.
I agree.
So
And
they
I
can
was
make
just
those
gonna
choices.
say that.
I also feel what you said when you said, as far as being 2 weeks in the hole and you don't have any choice but to sell this dope or feed your child or get a job. You feel what I'm saying? So it also goes back to where you are.
Well, the key point right there. I mean, you articulate that well, but at the end of the day, it's like we still making excuses about what the choices that we're making. And I was going to say the same thing. The education starts from the day that child is born.
Exactly.
On up. I don't have to send you to school to teach you right and wrong. You see what I'm saying? If I tell you don't put your finger in that socket, you know, I'm educating you. I'm teaching you how to potty training. Teaching you how to walk. You see what I'm saying? Kids are sponges, all right? Most of these hatred, even if you went in the slave homes, and you know, these kids were taught to hate. No different when you go across seas, they're taught to hate Americans. Never met Americans. Taught to hate. These are learned behaviors starting at home, all right? So when there is an absence of morals and values, integrity, probably mainly integrity. You see what I'm saying? When there's an absence of these things, of course, when you walk right down the street, I mean, most of our young black men, they don't even want to be in school, regardless of what type of education you give them. And some kids come from good homes. They don't want to be in school.
So if they come from good homes, what you're saying kind of contradicts itself, because if they come from good homes and you teaching them, they still got to make the choice to do wrong. So
It's a choice. Here we go.
You know what? I used to say.
They still go back to the
I
choice.
understand, but I'm saying you did your part at home, but this kid still goes out here and do what they want to do.
At a certain point in life, you once you've done what you could do, because no one can write a book on how to raise a child, whether you enslave or not enslave or whatever type of education system. You can put them in the best county that everybody have graduated from. At the end of the day, we go back to choice we made. So, and when we talk about all these black men in prison, do I hate? Yeah, I do. But for a lot of it, when we accept the fact that, yeah, I picked up the dope. Yeah, I picked up a gun. Yeah, I chose to break in that house. Yeah, I chose to have sex with all these girls and have kids. I made those choices. It ain't got nothing to do with no education. Nothing. You know why? I'm going to show you why because of that. Most fathers, if this is my daughter, I protect her. no, you can't have sex till you 40. But my son, I send him out there to be a little slut.
I don't agree with that.
You ain't got to agree with it. You see it every day.
That's what they do.
You ain't got to. You agree with it every day.
No, my dad.
You know what most. There's an exception. There's an exception to some of the rules, but for the majority of it, you can go and get 10 of your homeboys. And I grew up. You know what we do? Man, my son ain't finna be gay. Why are you being gay? Because you teaching them morals and values. How does that make you gay?
I think you. I mean, I have a daughter. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's one, and I have one on the way, and I will hope. If I do have a son, which I hope.
Congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
Oh,
you.
yeah,
I hope I have a son, but I'm going to talk to her the same way I talk to him. Wait. Like, you just don't need to go out and have sex with anybody. Just because you're a guy don't mean you having sex with multiple girls makes you cooler or any better. You know what I'm saying? So I don't agree with that either. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to talk to our children, our daughters, like we talk to our sons.
You protect your son just as well you
Because
protect
I
your
want my
daughter.
son, when I'm not around, to watch over his sister like I would if I was there. So just don't think because you are having sex with multiple women makes you the man. Because, I mean, personally, growing up, I loved Eazy-E. I thought he was the man, but look what happened with him. Just
Magic.
because of lack of knowledge. You know?
Well, you just said I don't agree with you, but you just said exactly what I'm saying.
I understand, but
You want to protect your
yeah,
son.
I want to protect
You
both of
should
them.
protect your son.
I don't agree with telling my son, if you have sex with a lot of women, you the man. What does that mean?
But that's what people do every day.
That's why we need more mentors who don't have that figure to tell them that's not the way to prove that you're a man. To be out there and talk to these young guys.
Yeah,
You remember how we used to joke with guys if they were virgins when we were young?
Yeah.
Boy, he a virgin, but we just fall out.
But that's not just it's anything in the book. Almost in the book. Oh, he got good grades, he a nerd.
He a
Or he got his
nerd.
pants pulled up, he a lame. Or he wear button ups. You know, it's always somebody want to poke fun at somebody for doing the right
But
thing.
teach them that's not an insult.
It's not. I definitely.
It's
don't
not
think
an
it's
insult. Yeah, exactly.
one degree.
But this is what if you ask this question in a group of men, like, what if you catch your daughter with a man? What you gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna beat him. But didn't you do it when you was growing up?
That don't make it right.
It don't make it right. When I'm not saying that makes it right. What I'm saying is it go back to what we teaching our young people. Because when you look in I want to say in the Canterville area, they got 25% of all new HIV cases. You see what I'm saying? And you don't mean you gonna need to be teaching your son.
They need to stay away from mechanics. So I'm just telling my son.
Yeah, you know what?
What I'm
It's
saying
good
is
that you going.
you're teaching your son. You know, man, hey, man, wait till you get educated. But see, these kids now, man, I mean, we're no different when we were growing up because you told me not to be with a girl. I've been looking at you like you were crazy.
You light skinned?
Because I didn't have no. Yeah.
You got to start young.
Fade it out there.
It's still good for what you got.
Yeah, I think come on, man.
Look, because y'all
That made me
going
feel a
deeper
little bit
into this. So we're going to say that's the second show that we're going to
Okay.
do, man. But we got research to do on it because we're going to bring facts. Like the 25%.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
good.
like I would like to, where's their resource coming from? Because a lot of time information is put out for us so we can to control us. You know what I mean? And then when you say choice is nothing more than education. But it's good that we have different.
Said the
you know,
controllers.
opinions.
They need the controls in that way, then.
I'm just not going to Mechanicsville for nothing.
But it's everywhere, though, brother.
Yeah, it's not
Look,
just
now
mechanics.
the next topic, the third week, and we're probably gonna get some preachers in here and some, a different variety of people. But the topic for the third week is God. How do you know?
How do you know God exists?
How
That's
do
the
you know?
question. How do you know God exists?
How do you know what?
How do
Fill in
you
the
know?
blank. How do you
It's
know?
all
How do you-
about faith.
My
Just
mom
say
said,
God, how do you
that
know?
know that you know that you know.
Yeah.
I think I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Religion is basically like, I feel like you don't have a choice. Most people don't have a choice in religion because when I was growing up, my mom took me to church every Sunday.
Okay.
Didn't want to, but I had to go. So it's like you grew up. This is what this is what you taught, and this is what you told is right. Most likely, that's what you're gonna believe in.
Well,
Until you get older.
I just want to say this. I took many religious courses at Georgia State University, and there's so.
Name drop.
I just want to
Next time you listen to school, Jack need to get an
There are
invoice.
so
He
many
charged.
religions. So when you start to get on religion, it's all about faith. Because even education won't help you know. There's no set facts. There's no facts. Every religion says they have a fact.
And that's why
Every religion can prove that their religion is the true religion.
True.
So it all leads to faith.
I think go back to this question, though. He said God. How do you know? He didn't say Christian, Islam. He said God. How do you know?
And everybody has their
Because
own
most of
God.
Christians.
like I said, from when my mom took me to church, I mean, I know from what they told me. That's all I knew. You know, I never went to a Buddhist church. I never went to a
Well, I was
Catholic
raised
church.
Islamic. I was raised Muslim.
See, I wasn't. See, so
And I converted when I would.
And you eat chitlins?
I don't eat chili. I don't even eat one.
But
No.
how do you?
But I
wow.
converted to Christianity when I was 13.
Oh,
But it's like a banana. When you peel away the cover, let me pull away the title, Christianity. How do you know God's real? I mean, really, what makes this is what I'm looking at him talking about.
It's
How
the
do you-
faith.
See, this is where I'm going at, like, because I was raised in church, but I didn't have a clue that God was really real until when I sat in an amazing prison, pulled me away from religion. Did I become a Christian then? Yeah, I did, because it gave me an opportunity to study, meditate, and start realizing, okay, some here got to be working, because there's no way, you know, things are orchestrated the way they are, you know. And one of the best things I ever said, you know, you can't see the wind, but you know it's there.
So, it's true. And like I know, I asked my dad that when I
Yeah,
was
we
like,
talked. I don't know if
I think I told you that.
yeah, there was somebody told me in
y'all
prison.
quoting each other?
Yeah, it was just, I think it was a story. We was talking about a story or
but I
something
know
like
I
that.
asked my dad one day when I was about 7 or 8. I'm like, you know, how do you know God is real? And he told me a story that I never forgot. He said when he was down to his weakest moment in life, when he felt like he had nothing left. He said he lost everything, lost his job, didn't have nowhere to stay. He felt like he was just going to lose it all. And he thought he was going to lose me. And he said he went in his room, prayed, and he said he saw a sign. Something woke him up. And he told me, he said, I think everybody has to go through their experience to where they'll know it's real. Yeah. You can tell somebody all day, you know, that's hot, but they won't know until they find out and touch it themselves and burn. So I think, I mean, for every person, I think God, you know, you have to find it on your own. Because like you said, there's no book on raising children. I don't think there's no book on tell you how to know God is real. You like the Bible's here, but everybody can read the Bible and interpret something different.
That's true.
It's basically about relationships, because religion is man-made. God, you have to have a personal relationship with. Like Omar said, he started studying and he saw that what he believed was real.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I had a different type of conversion. Like I studied Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and all of them can pretty much say the same things. I mean, all of them have parallel gods. Like even you have the Romans who had Zeus, and you had the Greeks who had
Caesar.
they're different. Saturn. They have different gods. But the thing is, for me, it was about my own personal experience. Aside from just what I was reading, aside from what I was studying, because when I prayed, it was actually answered, and I felt something. And I felt it enough to have me to continue to pray and to continue to seek that relationship with God. So it's not about what's in the book. It's not about what the Bible tells you. It's not about what the Quran tells you. It's not about what the Talmud or whatever tells you. It's about what you can feel, what you can experience for yourself.
So I have a question. Do you think a lot of African Americans in the U.S. are Christians just because?
About force.
Yeah, by force. The
Yes.
people were Christians.
Yes.
They slave owners taught you Christianity,
That was why I came up with that question.
and then now you're Christian, because Islam is actually more popular in the world
You're right,
than Christianity. But here in America,
It's because Tyler Perry.
Oh my God.
If you look at it, Christianity is, and I hate that word religion, Christianity is a religion of conversion. Whereas,
from Judaism.
Yeah. Whereas, say Judaism is a religion of exclusion. Only the Jews are God's chosen people. Where you look at it, Islam might be a religion of inclusion, because they feel like, you were raised Muslim, tell me if I'm wrong, they feel like if you believe in God and you accept his messengers, then you can get there. You can go to heaven, or you can be a believer. You feel what I'm saying?
Well,
So it's it's about what you believe in. Yeah, Christianity was forced on a lot of people, a lot of us here. When I say us, I mean African Americans, because if you're a slave master and you want your slaves to do what you say, you want them to have the religion you have. You want them to have the religion that says, hey, be meek. Hey, pay unto Caesar.
Keep cotton, boy.
Exactly.
well, let me challenge that then. So, you know, sometimes.
He gonna say slaves had a choice.
I wasn't gonna say that. What I'm saying is, you can go into these third world countries And if you didn't believe what they believe, well, you die.
Yeah.
I don't care what you claim.
Yeah.
So it happened in Islam. See, the problem is we want to talk about the Western culture and talk about Christianity and how it was impressed on the slaves or whatever. But let's go over to these other countries when you had all these wicked people who was impressing their beliefs on other people as well. You think black people just came up with Islam over in America? No. They had to get that understanding from somebody.
Yeah.
All right? It just seemed to make sense to whoever wanted to believe it. No different than what Christianity. I was growing up in church, but I didn't pay no attention to that. I was sleep sometime on my grandmama.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay no attention to it. It's just when I got in, and I studied a little bit of Islam just to see what it was about. I didn't really go into the other beliefs, whatever. But see, the problem I'm having with this, in these questions, is that we don't look at like no other beliefs did that. Because you got to realize there are good and bad people in every belief. There's some very wicked people in every belief. You got some very sincere people in all beliefs. You see what I'm saying? But trust me, if you go in these countries and you didn't believe what these folks believe,
You die.
you gonna die.
You die. And you
Oh,
know,
yeah, you may not get died. You might just.
That was the reason that I came up with the topic, because years ago I did. We was on a debate team with UGA with Dr. Pineda, and he would give us topics, and you can argue with those topics. But then the very next week, because it's easy to argue with something that I agree on, you know what I mean. But then the very next week, if I did the negative this week, I have to do the affirmative. That means that everything that I believe in, I have to challenge that thought. So I just started looking at my life that way. So not just within my conversation, but just like some of the beliefs that I had personally. Like I found out that I don't like sports. I was 6'3". I played ball because that's what Grandpa liked. And my uncles was big, and they was just like, that's how I got positive attention. But I freaking hate sports. I hate it. I don't look at it. I don't waste my time with it.
Wow.
So my thing is this, that when I look at life, I try to think about, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is it because of, and how do I exclude everything that another person has told me? How do I go on my own belief? How do I go from what's within me? And when I actually think about Jesus, I should think about a white man with long hair.
But if you read that's what they want you to do.
Let me finish. Calm. Okay, so now, the reason that I thought that is because that's what was pushed on me. At grandmama's house, right next to Martin Luther King, is a picture of Jesus. And I'm not saying that it's right, and I wasn't reading the Bible. I was just going about, if you don't go, like, I used to feel like if you swept my foot, I would have 7 years of bad luck and all this stuff.
You gotta be a Christian
Don't
for
do
that.
that. You know what? So my whole thing was, I just questioned myself, what do you believe and why do you believe in it? And how do you know something that exclude man's opinion on anything, excludes all expectations, and what are you basing your belief off of? If I don't talk to you and I don't come and give you 10% of my check and I don't do none of this stuff, what am I basing my belief off of?
If you're not basing your belief off personal experience, then it's not real.
Well, let me throw this up. I heard what you said earlier, and I guess I agree with it halfway. But if somebody just said God, you'd be like, okay, well, if you never know about it, never heard of it. If I just say God, well, give me some facts about it. What are you talking about? So if the Bible was brought together to bring you facts, of course, we all challenge stuff, because a lot of stuff I don't understand. We can maybe test it that way, but, if I never read the Bible, I would have never understood what Judaism was, never understood what a Jew was, never understood what a Gentile was, and never understood why Christ came to this earth. I never would have understood anything. You see what I'm saying? So I had to take those facts, you see what I'm saying, and test them to me, and see that was this, not for no chill bumps and all this old stuff there. That ain't how I tested those facts. You see what I'm saying? Because I had to study, meditate every day to grasp that. No different you do anything else. You see what I'm saying? Not because my grandma, because somebody said that, just because your grandma, no, my grandma didn't press that on me. My mother didn't go to church. You see what I'm saying? Didn't have no father figure. Don't got no brother and sister. I'm on the child.
You fell asleep on your grandma at church.
Yeah. I said I got my grandmother at church.
But your mom didn't go to church yet.
Oh, my mom didn't go to church. My grandmother, you going to church.
Yeah.
But that's all I was doing.
Gotcha.
I'm asleep. I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 years old.
So it's personal experience.
Yeah, along with the facts. You know what I'm saying? Because whether it's Islam or Buddha, see, I got to give you this. Like, make a cake then. How?
Ingredients.
How? How do I make cake? Well, I got to give you some facts on how to make this cake.
That's why
You see what I'm
some
saying?
people go ahead and get baptized again when they're older, because they were going through the steps of
Yeah.
being a Christian
Yeah.
before, just because that's what their parents or grandparents taught
You
them.
just did it.
But then once it hits them and they feel it and they know it to be real, they want to go get baptized.
You know, this is a good topic, but
Experience.
what we're gonna do when we come in 3 weeks, man, we're gonna have some people in here, and that we're gonna dig deeper. Because some of the stuff I've been exposed to in reference to outside of the Bible. Because every time I try to talk to somebody about the Bible, you know what they use to support their argument? The Bible. Like
yeah.
I'm saying, we're talking about the Bible. How are you using the Bible as a portion of your argument? Like, cause I was talking to a brother, an elder brother, and he was just like, you know, the Bible was written by William Shakespeare, and I was like, okay, here we go with this.
The what? And the what?
And then when he broke it down, he was just like, William Shakespeare. You know, sometimes when you call people William, you can call them Bill. And he was like, it's a book by Bill. And he broke all this stuff down. But here's my thing right here. Just because you give me information and it rhyme and it look good,
Wrapped it in.
But I have to think about, sir. In order for me to come to a sound of my own independent thought, I have to take everything into consideration. Like, for the love of me, I can't understand how you have Adam and Eve and y'all have children and those children have children. Nobody's related. Nobody, and we got all these different, you see what I'm saying? And then what you're telling me is that, you know, that's exactly what people say. If I don't take it literally, how do I take it?
But when I read the Bible, I have plenty of questions, and all they say is you have to believe.
Well, see, my grandma told me.
common sense.
My grandma told me before she passed away, because I remember when my grandma used to come down from Chicago, every night I would see her reading the Bible, and I'm like, you haven't finished it yet? She was like, yeah, I finished it, baby. She's like, but you need to read it more than once.
Yes.
Because you read it more than once, you'll understand it different ways. And I feel like it's just like a certain movie. Some movies you watch, you might have to watch it again to understand it a different way. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with that. You know,
Can I say something about Adam and Eve real quick?
like Pulp Fiction.
I need to say something to Adam and Eve.
Let me just say one thing. let me use this. If I wrote a book on Aaron Williams, from the day he was born to every word he spoke, to every time he walked, to every time he failed, every time he lifted his hand up, every time,
Long book.
bro, you wouldn't even be out the first chapter. So one thing that we hit, this is the common sense part. So this is the common part of that we got to understand. Yeah, Adam and Eve being the first creation, every time they had sex, every time they had a child, brother, you wouldn't even be out the first chapter trying to understand all that. You see what I'm saying? So this is what sometimes people take these little vices and throw it into the confusion. Okay, this is the confusing part of it. Well, I don't know, man. I wasn't back there for it, man. I'm not going to try to chase down that man's whole sexual life. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get up to the point of reason why, you know, I have opportunity to go to heaven.
To piggyback off what Omar said, the Bible says God created man and woman, male and female. He created them. Then he said, and he breathed into Adam. He became a living being. It says he created them male and female, and he created Adam. You feel what I'm saying? So who says that just because Adam was the first man does not mean that he didn't create other people? Just because it does not.
They just didn't put that in the Bible.
Exactly. They don't put everything in the
One
Bible.
thing I know about words, you can make words say whatever you want to
Just
do.
like
And if you
numbers.
listen to it, my daddy used to be a pimp in Detroit, and he told me that purposely he used to give prostitutes conflicting statements. Run this way and walk that way. And then I'll be the thinker. I need you from the neck down. I don't need you thinking, because when you start thinking, you get independent. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this up, and then we're going to go to break. We're going to go to break.
Run this way.
We're going to walk that way. That's the thing, because when you tell me that this is what's written in the Bible, but then, no, don't take that literally. And don't confuse yourself with facts. What you got to do is believe. Oh, you pimping.
That's why
You
it takes
pimping.
faith.
You a pimp.
Exactly.
All you missing is a pinky ring and a long white cape. I'm good.
Some of them got that.
Some of them got that.
What we're going to do, we're going to go to break, and we're going to come back, man. You're tuning in to Instinct Radio. This is the Dainhen Butler Show. We got some real smart people in the building. For real, knowledgeable people. They quoting each other and writing books on each other and stuff. Please call in at 478-569-6474. We really want to hear from our listeners and see what y'all think. And if you got questions, we got some professionals in the building. So stay tuned to Instinct Radio, the Dainhen Butler Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuning into the very best. It's yours truly, Jazzy Fizzle, Fizzle, Fizzle. And this is Instinct Radio, man. Tune in, baby. Oh, boy.